Testing 1, testing 2. Buckle my belt, buckle my shoe. Double your pleasure, double your fun. It's a statement of the great men. It's double gun. Okay. Hopefully we don't get copyright on that one. Give us a test, gentlemen.
Testing. 1, 2.
Oh, the soothing test of Darth Chocolate.
Yeah.
And then the Sifu from the Southwest.
Yeah.
Here we are. Tag team back again.
Oh, I was just thinking that, Alan. For anybody listening, this is like, you know, the Toon Squad from Space Jam, right? This is not Monstars. This the group you want to roll with. This is episode
Space Jam reference. Wow.
This is episode. It's got to be around 60, maybe early 60s of the Saber Martial Arts Podcast, and we thank you for joining us yet again, Alan. We have officially reached over 2,000 average downloads.
Hey, hooray! Welcome everyone.
Right.
Welcome.
Join me in wishing Ming Na Wen a happy 60th birthday.
Oh, that's dope.
So, yeah,
Wow.
happy birthday
God,
to Mulan and Fennec Shand and
Happy birthday.
She doesn't look a
And
day
also the
over
cover.
she doesn't look a day over like 40.
I'm saying. I don't see it.
And
I don't see 60.
she still does martial arts with the best of them. So there we go. We're around 60 in the episode count here. Wouldn't it be dope if this was episode 60? Maybe I can work some magic. And we've got one of our favorite guests and one of your favorite guests, according to the same analytics that gave me that last figure. This is Courtney Monroe from Saber Light Knights, the headmaster, the originator of that program, and our first non administrative school in the Saber Martial Arts affiliates, and over time has kind of become almost like an ad hoc administrator, but just always been there with us, always been just a positive force for us. And that sounds so like trite these days, right? Like a positive force for change. No, I mean, like the guy's really doing the thing, and he's been doing it for a long time in Virginia. And so I just gave you a little intro, but it's been a while since you've been on the show. So go ahead and, you know, add anything you want to add for a minute here.
Well, after that intro, man, I say we call it. There's nothing else after that. Hey, look, I'm glad to be back. Having these guys be a part of what's going on, it's been great and immensely helpful in many different ways. Saber Light Knights, Central Virginia, been at it for many years now, and I can happily say we're still kicking or swinging.
Yeah,
whatever the right form of violence is.
Yeah, and you guys have been, we've done a lot of stuff with you. You've done a lot of stuff with us. You've invited us to your kung fu school many times. It's not your personal, but where you used to train kung fu, and now where you do your classes for Saber Light Knights, and where this event has taken place with the Laughing Dragon Kung Fu School. So if you're anywhere near Charlottesville, Virginia, and you want to learn lightsabers and or some really good kung fu, go ahead and check out the Laughing Dragon Kung Fu School and or saberlightnights.com and go ahead and get yourself started. So there's your plug. And I don't know if anybody has ever gone to you guys from listening to this podcast before, but if we keep increasing those average downloads, maybe it'll happen. So there you go.
Welcome one, welcome all.
Yeah. Thank you to everyone listening. That doesn't necessarily mean we have 2,000 actual warm, different bodies that listen, but we're certainly on the way for a small little grassroots cast like us on a very niche topic. I got to say, we're doing all right. So thank you all for listening. And Tonight we're gonna do some commentary for the Praxeum War event that you guys just did in October here. So this event is something that we've all been kind of like trying to do. This was the first go at something we've all been trying to do for a long time, which was like a sort of a seminar and tournament rolled into one. There was lots of instructional and group learning and stuff, and then there was also a full competition.
That's right.
So, Courtney, what kind of high level, in a nutshell, so to speak, what kind of would you like to tell us about this particular event, and more specifically, the video we're going to watch tonight?
Yeah. So, Praxeum War, had the idea, for a couple of years now. This is actually technically the second one. But the whole idea, the way it started was, we always have tournaments, where it's one person versus the other until you have one that stands above all, of course, with the other placeholders. But then the thought was, what if we did the same thing, but it was groups or schools or academies versus other groups or schools or academies.
Right.
And then, whichever one comes out on top reigns supreme, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's where the idea came from initially. But then it was kind of like, since we're going to have other groups and schools come here, to test themselves against others, why not have instructors or the people who run those schools teach classes and give a little bit of their flair philosophy on things and show us how they get down. So that's where that idea came from. So it's kind of evolved into almost a symposium a little bit.
Yeah.
Where we've had we're honored to have some really cool people come and teach at this thing. In just the 2 short years that it's existed. And it's great because you get a little bit of a seasoning sprinkled on you from every other group, and you make new friends and you make new connections, and it's just a wonderful thing. So that's the idea behind it.
Yeah, and like I mentioned a few minutes ago, we've within SMAF at least, and Courtney's been a part of this conversation since the inception in 2018. We've kind of all, like Eric, myself, out, we've kind of all always wanted to do something like this. You happen to be the first one to make it happen, and that's pretty cool. I was real disheartened to not be able to make it. It's funny, your summer tournament usually falls around my daughter's birthday. And then this one happened to fall right on my son's birthday. So I was not able to attend, but I was looking forward to, hoping to teach a class, whatever. But, there's always next year. I am happy that Alan got to go. I know that Chad and TPLA were there. I know that you had Alon doing some stuff, Alon Block. So, that's just a few of the names. I know Tony, Commander Tony from Aiken came in and did some stuff. And I'm hoping that we'll get him on to do commentary for his rule set that you guys had a competition for. So anyway, the video that we're going to watch tonight is called Praxeum War Day 1. Part 1.
And actually, excuse me, this
no
is
problem.
my bad.
Excuse away.
I actually it's Day 1 Part 2.
Day 1 Part 2. Oh,
yes.
Okay. Well, let me come out of that one.
Well, I got you. Hold on here.
It's all good. I got it right here.
Okay.
Yep, I got you right here. And so while we're getting that, Alan, I mentioned your name several times. I didn't actually let you say hello to anybody. Hello there.
Hello there.
I gotta shout out and give Alan congratulations. Nobody listening probably knows this, except maybe Kenny if he's listening. But Alan just recently earned his 7th degree black belt. So kudos are in order.
Yes.
And all the bows and all the things are in order. And honestly, just from like, from a homie standpoint, it's pretty cool. So I'm impressed and congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Congrats.
So really quickly, while we get this video pulled up, anything from that test? Because I saw a couple pictures that Kenny posted. Anything from that test that kind of stands out to you as like something that you learned? Because like 7th degree black belt, there's only 10, so you're getting up in that upper third there, right? So. What is there to learn, right? Well, what have you learned going through this experience?
So, for our lineage, every degree of black belt is a different style of fighting. So you basically have to master a different 108 form, which is 108's the magic Chinese number, and basically most complete fighting systems have at least 108 movements in them for us to string together into one long form. That's basically what it was. So I had to show up with 7 108 forms and 28 weapons of different styles and things. So the goal is to be able to have the mental capacity to do all that. Have the emotional maturity to walk through it, have the the physical ability to actually live through that. And there's also the financial and spiritual part of being able just to keep on going and doing that sort of thing. So it's it takes a lot, and it's never something you plan for. It's just something your teachers and peers say, hey, it's time.
Yeah. Well, you've been talking about it kind of, we talked about it a few months ago at a little more length, but we've been talking about it here and there. And when you and I went up to Michigan, you were spending every little moment you could trying to refresh your forms and things and just kind of sand all the little edges down, and at a certain level, that's what it takes. That's what it becomes, right? Like you're watching TV, you do a little shadow boxing, you go through this little section of your kata or your form, or your forms practice, your velocity, whatever the case is. It's a matter of like consistent, like little bits of consistent. It's sort of like sharpening a knife that's already sharp, right? Like you're just honing that edge constantly. You're just kind of making sure that the burr is knocked away and that you have a true straight edge at all times. And that, when you're a lower belt or when you're less experienced, it takes more work to get that knife sharpened. But then once the knife is sharp, you do still have to like hone it, right? You do still have to strop it and hit it with the oil. And so I was like watching Alan kind of do that here and there, in the corner of the hotel room or down at breakfast, as he's like waiting for this or that. So, it's just, it's a very cool, in my opinion, very cool thing to see, just because, like I'm hoping one day, somebody thinks I'm old enough to do that.
Yeah, that's part of it too. Is you can't go to some of these things if you're not old enough to do them.
Yeah, that's true.
You do have to have a certain amount of years of.
It's an experience thing. It's not so much an age thing as it is experience. There is obviously, especially in some styles, I'm sure there's a codified age for certain levels and such. But beyond all that, it is an experience thing. And when I say old enough, I'm never going to feel Yoda enough to do some of these things right, but you just hope that somebody else thinks you are, because that's really what it becomes after you earn a black belt, right? You kind of like, or a high level, or you've been there for a while. It becomes like, well, I need somebody else to tell me if I'm good enough, right? Like, because I'm teaching all these other people. I have no idea what I'm even up to, so I need somebody else to tell me. And when somebody tells you, like, yeah, I think you're good enough to do the next thing, it feels pretty cool. So, yeah, man. Long story short, congratulations, Alan. You are officially the youngest, highest rank that I know, and so that's pretty cool from that perspective too. So anyway,
absolutely.
Let's get into this. Praxeum War, Day 1, Part 2, and it looks like 4:01 on the dial is when the intro screen goes away. So for anybody listening, I will obviously have the video linked in the description. But
it looks like 4 minutes in is the sweet spot.
Yeah, 4:01 is what I have on my dial, but who cares if it's a second or 3 off. So anybody who's already on the Saberlight Knights YouTube page as you're listening to this, find that video, Praxeum War Day 1, Part 2, and or scroll down to the show description and click on the link. There is audio in the video that we're about to watch, so we'll mute our own screens because we don't need to hear what, the audio of the fights and stuff. But if you're watching at home, obviously feel free to do what you're doing. And if you're listening in the car, please don't watch lightsaber fights while you drive. But if we're doing our job correctly, you should have a good enough idea, kind of like listening to hockey on the radio. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, play at 4 minutes on the dial. Oh, there's Darth Chocolate himself right in front of the screen.
Right there. Look at that.
Look at that beard, man.
Yeah, it's a little out of control now.
Out of control. I was just thinking long and Viking-esque.
Yeah, it's gonna change with the seasons. You know how we do it.
So, Courtney, This is the Standard Saber Division, correct?
That's correct. Yes. This is just standard, and exotics was done on day 2, but that was technically the 3rd day.
So, who do we have in this bout here on the left and right?
So, on the left we have Ryan, who is from Saberlight Knights
with the blue blade.
With the blue blade, and then David Cook on the right side, who is also a member of Saberlight Knights. He's been here. He joined earlier this year, I believe.
So is this classic point fighting? Is this continuous style? How is this running?
So this rule set is continuous in nature. So that, for those listening who don't know, that is, there are no calls for holds between every exchange. Hold is usually only called when, the head judge needs it or it's necessary for some reason. So you just fight. Right. Although when contact is made, you are required to take a couple of steps back before re-engaging. So a brief disengage before you hop back in. The line judges, you see Vince on the left side where the red arrow is. And then I'm back there head judging. And then Liz is behind me. She's the other line judge. They have clickers, and they award you different point values for the area that you hit.
So just out of curiosity, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Does each judge only judge one fighter?
They judge both fighters.
Interesting.
So they have
a lot to keep track of.
Yes, it is. They have a red and a blue clicker in each hand.
I'm with you. So they just click the right hand, click the left hand, click the right hand, click the left hand.
That's right. Yeah, and the values change depending on what target was successfully struck.
So there is different point values. There's a lot more to keep up with than I thought. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing. That's you just got to make sure that if you are a judge in this type of situation, you got to be on your P's and Q's.
At all times, you have to watch. And the goal is that by the end of it, both judges have the exact same values, or are within a close
close margin, right?
Yeah.
So then
Go ahead.
Did you have any moments where the margins were like super wide and you're like, what the hell?
Actually, no.
Good.
No,
Good.
never. They were never considerably wide in any way. When it was clear that someone dominated, it was clear, and it worked very well. We really only had Saberlight Knights folks, sans Allen, who is pretty much one judge, just because we practice the rules and we're have the eyes, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So, as you can see, Ryan won here, which means he had the highest amount of points between both judges.
Mm-hmm. I like Ryan's new armor, by the way.
Yeah, man, that man, he makes his own armor, and he cranks them out, and they always look fantastic. So,
Smokey's Armory, right?
Smokey's Armory, that is it.
Yep.
He actually has a YouTube channel also where he just kind of covers a lot of the raw clips.
Dude,
there's a lot of sparring footage.
Ryan lives on a farm. I live on a farm. I have barely any time to even do this podcast and teach martial arts a few nights a week. How the hell does Ryan have any time?
And and he's he was veterinary, and he's a dad too. I don't know how he
does it.
Dude, I'm barely keeping my head above water.
Not to mention the other night he sat there for like 30 minutes while I tried to figure out what the hell was wrong with my gear, and so you guys will hear from Ryan here in about a week. After this episode releases, he's going to do the exotics division commentary with us. And Courtney, before we talk more about Ryan's many virtues, who do we have in this bout here?
So we
with
have
the red vest start first.
Okay, so red vest, that is Alon.
Okay.
He is well known in the Saber community.
And he formulated at least the base rule set that you're using here, correct?
So he
it's
TSL
a modified
Unity,
version,
I believe.
Yes.
Is the one he did. Ours, we tried to base a little bit more on boxing, but this
right. I'm
sports.
with you.
But the similarities can't be dismissed.
Okay.
And then and the black right there, that is Trip Stewart. Trip is a former D1 fencer. The man traveled around the country. I think he even went to Paris at one point.
Oh, you can tell.
And wreck shop. He tears us up. But we love him. He's one of our favorite dudes. So this is kind of a Clash of the Titans match.
Well, Alon
kind of flies under the radar.
I'm sure he would, correct me if I was wrong, but from, I don't know Alon very well. We've only talked on the podcast, officially. But from what I understand, he's a little bit more of like a longsword guy. And you can tell that Tripp fights a lot like Nick Richardson. Alan,
yes.
would you agree with that? Sort of like a stout Makashi.
Yeah, Tripp is a fencer first and foremost. So that's where that is.
And there's Sifu Damon on the side there. You see Sifu Damon there.
Yeah. Alon actually is trained in a bunch of different styles, and he actually was one of the co-founders of Golden Gate Knights.
Yes.
The choreography before he actually started doing combat stuff. He did a lot more choreography.
Very nice man. Never met Tripp.
Yeah.
But
he's great.
I really enjoyed. And Alon is a very like an honest personality, which is what I got from him when we recorded with
genuine.
him. Yes.
Genuine,
yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So Alon, if you're listening, hopefully you are. We'd be happy to have you back on the show anytime. So go back and listen to I can't remember, episode 30, late 30s, I think. It was or late 20s, can't remember now. Saber Mayhem. So and Courtney, were you on Saber Mayhem? Ryan was,
yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. So Tripp took
small
that
thing
one.
Is this is a double elimination tournament.
Yes, this is true.
And then there are points for you get more points for hitting the head and the torso, and everything else is 1 point, right?
That is right. And then you get a whopping 3 with a parry riposte, a successful one.
Right. As
Wow.
long as it hits the correct, it's an extra point, or is it? It's an extra point if you parry or post into the head or the torso.
It's just a flat 3.
No, it's a flat 3. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That would definitely, like, this is the kind of rule set that, as simple as the fighting is in nature, the judging, it's like a cool complexity. It's like an interesting complexity. It's not like unnecessarily complicated. It's just like, listen, you've got to be a part of this fight too. You can't just be sitting on the side picking your nose and then pointing to somebody who you think got the point.
That's right.
You've got to be part of the fight. You've got to be watching every little bit. And this is the way we spar, right? Like, we don't keep track of points most of the time when we practice, but or at least I don't. Other people do other things, but 9 times out of 10, when you just spar with somebody in practice, you just kind of the way you do it in a continuous fashion. You disengage when somebody hits you. You tap what you hit, and we've talked about this ad nauseum, but here it is in practice in front of you, but now in competition. So, and I am, Courtney, you know this vividly. I'm a huge fan of continuous fighting, like a huge
Absolutely.
fan. Much more so than point fighting, although point fighting is how we all got our start in this game.
Here we have Chico versus Liz, correct?
That is right. Chico versus Liz. They are both Saberlight Knights. And yeah, here we are.
Chico's a cardio machine.
Yeah, he's insane.
He's a freak athlete.
We'll be training and we'll be sparring and stuff like that, and the round will be over and everyone's like breathing all hard, and Chico just gets out his jump rope and he's still going. He's over there doing push-ups. The man is a mutant. He's not human.
He should try MMA.
He emulates the king, the Prince of the Sands as well.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah, his gear, his whole gimmick is inspired from Vegeta from Dragon Ball Z, as you can well see.
So tell me the other person's name again.
So the person fighting Chico is Liz Pritchard.
Okay,
and Liz is a member of Saberlight Knights also.
Okay. She's definitely, I don't know if she's studying Form 3, but you can tell that she's not giving a lot of ground. She's not really aggressive, but the defense is not giving way to Chico, who, by the way, after sparring with Chico like once or twice a couple of years ago, like I gave him all the ground he wanted. The dude is just like, he's in your face.
So that is essentially what's happening here. So Liz has had a lot of Form 1 and Form 5 training.
Okay, yep, okay.
What's going on here is Chico is such a menace that you have to pick your shots very, very carefully.
Yes.
Because he's, usually faster than you. And you just have to be kind of careful. So I think that's kind of what's going on with Liz here, if that makes sense.
I can see that.
Picking the shots.
That's the way I would have sparred him too. But, it's just, you can't really take risks. But at the same time, you kind of have to take risks with somebody like that because they're just going to keep coming. And if you didn't know Chico's actual personality, he's such a damn sweetheart.
I'm telling you.
If you didn't know that, you would think he was such a dick for the way he fights.
Yo, I'm telling you, just a good dude, man.
Yeah, he is a good dude. Very good dude.
Happy to see you all the time. Mm-hmm. You could probably knock on his door at 3 a.m. and he'll be like, "Hey, man, I was just sleeping. It's all right. Come on in here." He's that kind of dude,
Yeah, I was just in the bathroom. No big deal.
There you go.
That's so funny. So I actually don't know who took this one because I do think Liz was playing the counter game well, but it's kind of, Chico was laying the hurricane down. It is what it is.
Yeah. She fought a good fight, sound strategy against him. And he did end up taking that round. And so next up we have Peter, who is he's actually unaffiliated. He belongs to a local historical European martial arts group.
And that's the gentleman on the left with the lighter gambazin?
That is correct.
Okay.
That's him on the left.
He's got the red armband.
Yeah, he's been out with us like once or twice. Hung out, cool dude, thick Russian accent, awesome guy.
Great interesting,
dude.
Great fighter.
And then great fighter. And then on the right there we have Michael Sprague. Michael Sprague, he's well known. He started here with
Standby Saberlight guy, standby guy.
And then he's planted a seed for another group. They're roughly 2 hours away, called Freedom Fighters. They're also saber fighters as well.
Very cool.
And we're at it.
So really quickly, Ryan, who is on the left there, the judge on the left there, Ryan and Roland do the fight nights for your guys' YouTube channel, which if anybody's listening, thank you first of all again. But definitely scroll through the millions of videos that you guys post, and I don't say that to be facetious. It's a phenomenal thing. Ryan, like we joked about earlier, he's willing to spend all this time. So go ahead and take him up on the offer. Right? Go ahead and watch. But Mike Sprague is on every one of those fight nights almost. Right? Like he's always.
He's been here since I started Saberlight Nights. I mean, he walked in not too long after,
and he's not like a super young gentleman either.
Oh no! If don't kill me, Mike, if you're listening, but I believe he's in 50s.
He's in the wizened decades for sure. But you can see
he's to be retired.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's spry as hell though.
But here's the thing. You won't tell. You won't tell. He's a lifelong martial artist, by the way.
Yes.
For
I believe he's also a black belt in Kempo, is he not?
Yes. Okay. And he's done Arnis and Muay Thai.
Teaching too.
Yeah, he's a teacher. He's a martial arts teacher. He knows what he's doing.
And he's a nice dude, a hell of a nice dude.
He's a nice dude, a gentle giant, because he's also large. He's a large man.
Strong as hell. But look at, like...
His helmet is in the style of Wrecker from the Bad Batch.
Now,
yes.
The guy on the left, tell me his name one more time.
Oh, that's Peter on the left.
Man, he's another guy, got that fencing style. A little bit more of your actual, like, cavalry saber than, like, your Olympic saber. But... definitely you can tell the HEMA influence. So this fight was like very interesting. We didn't talk about anything more than like how Tony Stark Mike Sprague is, but other than that little section, like that was a really technical fight. So I recommend if you're watching this that you go back and watch that fight again without us talking and really enjoy it. Not that they're all not good fights, but I think it's important to highlight the exceptional moments, and that fight was exceptional.
Yeah, that was not a slugfest. That was all about technique there.
Crispy and crunchy. I liked it a lot. I'm proud of these guys. Good job, boys. Good job.
And Sprague takes it.
Yeah, man. When I am that age, whatever age that is, 24, right? When I am that age, if I can like walk around the ring like he just did, I'll be happy.
Wait until you see Tony get in there. I still can't believe that man's the age he is. I can't believe it.
Commander? Oh my God, dude. I'm telling you.
That man. Yeah.
I always tell people on the show, like that red bag, that red hanging bag in the corner back there. When I was there at the school and we were just hanging out before the podcast that night after somebody definitely did not put a hole in the wall. Tony did a few combos on that red bag right there, and all I could think was like, man, it sucks to be that red bag. Like, dude, Tony lays him out, and his boxing technique is like exceptional.
Solid. It's solid. Yes, it is. Yes.
So shout out to Tony, man, because he's another one. He's got to be, pushing 30, or double that. And he's not only is he doing it, like doing the combat, but he's doing it with kids all the time too, like which takes a whole different level of energy.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, he's only 67. He's a young man by.
Is that how old he is? Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus.
Yeah.
So, yeah, my dad just turned 71. He hasn't done martial arts in like 20 years. And Tony's like cranking it out, man. So this is, tell us who this is. We're talking right over him.
Yeah, so on the left side, we have Brooks. Brooks is from Saberlight Knights.
Another one who's been with you forever.
That's right. And then David Cook is back in here again.
He's got the white armor and the red bands.
That is right.
So this is another pretty good fight, actually. They're not slugging it out. And again, two boys that could definitely lay bricks.
Two kaijus.
Yeah. And but no, they're kind of actually having a bit of a Star Wars duel. It's a bit of a swashbuckle.
Yeah. No, so David, like I said, he's a bit newer.
Mm-hmm. He's got good Brooks control of his sword, though.
He definitely does, and also I have to say, so shout out to David. He showed off this weekend. This weekend was when he woke, when he was awakened. This was the weekend for him. Like he fought like I've never seen. Very proud of him. So he did very well. Most of his training's just been, basic Form 1 stuff. And Brooks has been there for years. And he fights very precisely, not a lot of wasted energy.
Right, right.
Likes to go for the easiest target, the target closest, which is essentially what's taught. You hit what's closest to you, so he adheres to that. He does it pretty well.
That was a good fight. With Brooks, his control of his, I feel like both of these guys, that was not a test, a show of weapon control. Brooks, the weapon control is his game. He has a stance. He doesn't veer from that stance often. He doesn't need to because his weapon is everywhere it needs to be whenever it needs to be there. Mm-hmm. Tell me the other guy again.
David.
Okay, I'm not familiar with David very well, so sorry, David. I've had to ask your name 100 times, I'm sure. But with David, you said he's got a lot of mostly Form 1 right now. Yeah. Exactly the way he's doing it is exactly the way he should keep doing it for a long time, and he will go far. I think he's got a solid foundation right now.
He impressed this weekend. I had never seen him perform quite like that before.
Does he have prior experience in any martial arts or anything?
I believe so, but I think it's been some time. Don't hold me to this. I'm sorry if I'm getting it wrong, David. It's been a while, but I believe it was Taekwondo, but some time ago.
He's got a good stance. Sometimes with the beginners in saber fighting, you can tell if they're a total beginner by the stance. And I'm telling the audience this more than you know this obviously, but you can tell by the stance a lot of the time. And we talked about this with Christy when she was new and we were watching some of her fights. And obviously she's vastly improved since then. But Christy. That was one of the things that gave her away as a beginner at the beginning. And now one of the things that makes her blend in is the fact that she's got a good stance. She's got the good sword work. So, I feel like those two things, stance and sword work, if you can start with that, building up those two things, you can really lay a good groundwork for yourself to go into other avenues. So we have Alon and Vince now. Alon with the red chest guard and Vince with the purple accentry.
That's right. So Vince started here, Saberlight Knights, Charlottesville, but he's since moved, down to the 757
nice shot
Virginia
by
Beach
Sorry.
area. A great shot. So he's kind of branched off. He's had a lot of Kenjutsu training, a lot of HEMA training. And him along with Christie, there's another Saberlight Knights branch where they are. So they're fighting under that group. So there's Saberlight Knights Charlottesville, and then there's Saberlight Knights Hampton Roads. Vince is Saberlight Knights Hampton Roads.
Vince is a sprightly little guy.
Yes. So
and I
so
say
Vince,
that as a sprightly little guy.
Oh yeah. So that was beautiful. What just happened there was classic German longsword technique called the bind. Where Alon caught Vince coming down, had him kind of in a hanging kind of ox position, and he pushed in and then cut him along the belly. He hit him with the Obi-Wan, the old dismemberment.
Yes, sir.
He gave to Darth Maul. So it's pretty cool to see like the differing styles here.
Well, you mentioned Vince has Kenjutsu and Hema training.
Yes.
You can kind of see that blend. The way he relaxes his sword is very European style, but his stance and the actual attacks, a lot of the attacks he's using seem more Japanese style. But it doesn't seem like, how sometimes people will be like, now I'm fighting this style. Now I'm fighting this style. No, it's just, those are his flavors,
Yeah. He's just doing his thing.
He's very relaxed. I'm a little guy too, and I don't think Alon is huge, but everybody is huge in my mind, right? Like I'm always feeling like David versus Goliath. So Vince has a lot of guts, and like sometimes he backs away, but it's the same thing I do. Like I'm not really backing away. I'm just trying to like eat a different angle. So I like the way his footwork did that, because Alon has very good geometry in the ring.
He does excellent, and Vince being his height, he's very intelligent. He's an extremely intelligent fighter, and his evolution has been a marvel to watch. So what ended up happening here was the round ended and they tied. So we're gonna have sudden death here.
Okay. Haha. All right.
And basically what that is the first person to make a clean, clear, concise hit wins the round.
Any hit or to a specific target or targets? Uh-oh. I lost your answer, Courtney.
If it's muddled, it could get thrown out. We want clean victory.
Okay, I'm with you.
So that's why they're dancing around. Oh, he's about to bust out the Makashi.
Oh, no. Yeah. Straight out of the light fencing Dulan. Oh, man. I love it. Good job.
Good job, Alon. Taught that the night before.
Shout out to Chad. Really good guy.
Great dude.
Yeah, really good guy.
That wasn't clear enough.
These boys are loose. I love it. Loose.
Goosey.
Yeah. My Sifu, I called him Sifu. He was my karate teacher, one of my karate teachers. But he had this, looks like Alon maybe? I don't know. Vince had a sneaky little belly cut.
Yeah. Now bring him in, because I want to be clear, because I don't know if
who did you give it to, Courtney?
If from what I just saw, I believe it was Alon, but I'm just living my life. So
that was a tough call. Sorry, I forgot what I was even saying.
Excuse me. I'm sorry.
I
love you, Vince.
Vince had a real this is one of those moments. I recommend you go back and watch if you're watching, because I'm gonna go back later and watch that again. My subconscious brain said it was Vince, but my conscious brain would have given it to Alon in the moment. Yeah. So it's very interesting.
Now that I go back, I think the reason why I called them in was because I'm gonna just keep it real. I had no idea what the hell happened. So I was like, let me talk to Vince.
It was a fun fight. The fight seemed to be ramping up in technique. Even like some of the people who are more beginner in nature, it just seems like they're sort of rising to a level as the fights gain momentum.
That's right, man. That's right. Okay, so
You look like
here
fucking
on
night. I'm sorry. Jeez, I just said a bad word. Sorry. Maybe I'll just lay the explicit on this. You look like Nightwing in that jacket, Courtney.
I said the same thing to somebody that day. I didn't notice it until I had it on. I'm like, look like Dick Grayson.
You brought the excitement right out of my language there.
Hey, so on the right is Liz, again from Saberlight, and then on the left is Anthony Wazell. Anthony is from Kyber Kai Academy.
Where's that out of?
They are in West Virginia.
Kyber Kai, reach out to us. How have I not heard of you?
Oh yeah, no, Kyber Kai.
They were there last year too.
Kai
is in the back there underneath the lion heads.
They are
the head.
Yeah, that's him.
Kyber Kai, send me a message at sabermaoutreach@gmail.com. Send me a message.
Here you go.
So they do a lot of choreography as part of their.
Yeah, but he's got some technique. This guy looking like a football player.
Yeah, Anthony's sharp, and he gets better every time I see him.
Yes,
his improvement rate is insane.
You know, he kind of reminds me of Bede, and why I say that is he's got like that you said he's got choreography. I was thinking like, man, he kind of fights like a movie Jedi, you know?
I see it.
You know, it's just kind of fun. It's kind of fun. It's technical, but it's kind of fun. It's not taking itself too seriously, and I don't mean that to be like, oh, it's a joke. Just like there's no stick up the butt. I like it.
Oh,
right. He's also wearing a Steven Universe over his armor. Steven Universe shirt.
Man,
man. Liz is patient. Oh, she's patient.
Very patient. That's one of her best qualities as a fighter, in my opinion.
I am not that patient. She's not patient like boring, like just standing there and come to me.
Right.
But she does kind of taunt the shark, you know. Oh, it's very cool. Good fight. I'm telling you, man. I love it. I love when momentum increases, and that's what's happening in every fight right now. Oh, there's the real Nightwing rolling over there.
There he is. There he is.
Good dude. Man, having conversations with Roland is one of my favorite reasons to visit you guys.
That man will take you on a galactic trip and back again.
Yeah, forget about ayahuasca. Just go on a journey with Roland.
So Liz took that bout.
Yes, congratulations to her. Well fought. That Ceresu sort of vibe worked. I know you said mostly form 1 and 5, but you know, in the middle of that is 3, as you all
that is correct.
As we know.
That is correct. So check this out. So now we have Peter, who's back on the scene over there on the left. And on the right, that is Michael Mendoza. Michael is a member of Saberlight Knights Charlottesville. Michael, he has trained Muay Thai as well as Kali, and he's also done some Japanese swordsmanship. I forget which discipline. Might be Kendo, I believe.
Okay.
So he's very well seasoned, and that's a big man. Battle tank with a Ferrari engine, because that man is too big to move the way he does. It is, I don't understand.
So is the Batmobile is what you're saying,
dude? He's like Poe, like Kung Fu Panda. You know how like Poe can like flip around and like do the insane stuff. That is him. And his fight style is clean and it's flashy. He's one of my favorite dudes to watch when he really lets loose.
So they haven't started yet. So if you're listening and you weren't sure now you know you need to watch. He's got the yellow blade on the right here, the blue banded fighter, and then we have Peter again on the left.
Peter on the left, and then Michael on the right.
Okay, Peter being the red banded fighter. We got Chico judging this one, and Roland as well, I think.
Do believe so. And then the head judge kind of, you see, I just told him to hold for some reason.
Yeah, man.
Oh, because we were having issues deciding on if his blade was lit. Turns out it was, but the battery was just weak.
Yeah, that's one of those.
In retrospect, I wish I wouldn't have let that slide, but here we are.
Alan and I were talking about this on an episode a while ago, I think. One of the things you need to remember that is kind of hard to remember sometimes is you got to have your batteries charged. I'm not coming down on you, Pete, but
Right.
damn, when you go to an event like Alan and I charged our batteries while we were in Michigan every night, even though we didn't need to.
There you go.
Mhm.
There you go. Yeah.
I'm like paranoid about it now.
Dude, but like even like just without the logistics of the rules being that it helps to have a lit blade, right, to see what's going on. You're doing Jedi stuff, man. You're like, you need a freaking lightsaber. The first word is light. It's like,
Truly, it is. It is.
So
yeah.
Anyway, I guess a day blade would help. You know, like if you really needed to, a day blade would help.
Yes. Yeah.
Right, and if your battery gets jostled while you're fighting, that's a different story.
Yep.
You know, it should light up when you're at the equipment check, you know, and actually be visible. But a lot of these sabers too are combat sabers that looks like they've seen some wear and tear as well. So it's totally fine if they go out.
These boys are going at. This is probably one of the faster paced fights we've seen yet since Chico's fight.
I told you that man moves. So funny thing about Michael is he kind of came around when I kind of changed how I taught things. The way it was before was everyone got Form 1 and then got specialized, but I kind of streamlined it. So I kind of teach techniques from all the different ones, like I'll dedicate a day to it, that sort of thing. So he's got a taste of everything.
Yep.
You know, particularly Makashi's is great. He's got a lot of Form 5 training as well.
Yo, his ability to just hold that big ass hilt in one hand so dexterously, I don't have that ability. That's very impressive.
Yeah. He was flourishing that thing.
Those boys went at it. That was good.
Dude,
they didn't hack each other to pieces hard. It was just very vibrant.
And look, I will give a big shout out to Peter right now, because as is the case, you know, I love you, my HEMA dudes, but you guys hit like it's for real. I love you, but it's true. And he came in there, Peter did, and he was swinging for the fences. But after the first, you know, 1 or 2 warnings, he got it under control. So props to him for, you know, recalibrating himself properly. No, that's not necessarily what he's used to.
I think, yeah, when that happens and you take it sourpuss just remember we're doing lightsabers. We're not.
That's correct.
Doing longsword. You can understand how the different martial art would take a different turn of events, right? But the armor in HEMA is different too.
Yes.
Saber fighting armor is largely lacrosse armor. So now HEMA armor and other stuff like that has crept its way in over time. But you know, the budget way to do it is to go to play it against sports and get some hockey and lacrosse gear.
That's actually what I suggested to someone this very day when they needed spare gear on the fly. I told them to go right down the street to play it against sports.
That's exactly it. The day of the sparring in Michigan, I told Alan, I was like, I think I need better gloves. My gloves had mold in them, actually. That's what happened. And so played against sports. I was like, oh, there it is. Half mile away. Let's do it. You know? So no, I mean, in all seriousness, the control level needs to be adjusted mostly because the gear level is so grassroots. We don't have a century martial arts for saber fighting, although that might be something we have sometime soon. Anyway, soon is relative. But you know, when you're cobbling together gear with duct tape and shoestrings and chewing gum, then you got to adjust your longsword power. So yes, shout out to the dude for realizing the level to come to. We have Ryan and who is on the right?
and that is Trip back in it
Oh,
again.
Trip again, right? Ooh,
Trip
man,
is
he's got
actually
some lunge
Ryan
to him.
was the one who brought Trip to Saberlight Knights. They're both professional colleagues, I believe. And so this is a friendly rivalry, like not so friendly depending on the day, I guess.
Maybe
But
not.
these are,
Maybe not friendly by the water cooler.
Yeah. So these are our two of our best fighters here.
Man, Trip is lunging like.
Yes, he is.
Damn.
He is getting across that room.
Dude, Suzanne Summers would be jealous of the Eye Master situation going on there.
That's right.
Ryan's impossible to score on. I'm just pretty much convinced that Ryan is like maybe the best saber fighter I've ever sparred with.
He's Taskmaster from Marvel, right? That's his power, man. He sees you do it one time, and you won't get him a second way.
Dude, he's on way.
He just has to see it one time, and that's it. And he can do it himself.
That's really interesting. You say that. that is the magic. That is the black magic you're witnessing. He just freaking wins, and it's like, again, if you didn't know his personality, you'd almost think he was like a total D-bag, right? Because he's on to everything you do in.
Yes.
It's kind of like if you watch MMA or boxing, and it's the fighter who's constantly got the other person up against the fence or up against the ropes, but isn't like grappling with them up, right? Just like constantly peppering them with punches and kicks and stuff from just outside the fence, just keeping your back on close to the wall. And that's like Ryan, except his back is always kind of close to the wall, and that's his home, right? Like, I'm gonna just stand right here, and like Leonidas at the hot gates. If you come any closer, you are toast.
You're toast.
Yeah, man.
That's him. He's hyper competitive. I mean, if you're across the ring from him, God bless you.
So how do you train with a guy like that? How do you train with a guy like that who's just chameleoning everything you do? He just kind of figures out a little kryptonite for it. Yeah.
Essentially, you just gotta, figure it out and then go from there. Ryan's also, as I'm sure you'll hear when his episode airs, is an instrumental member of Saberlight Knights. He's one of the 3 members of the council. He's Taskmaster here, and he's the one who trained Chico up into knighthood. And couldn't have done it without him. He helped organize all of this stuff. He's the man.
Yeah. Yeah. You can say it much better than I can, but he just is one of those people that first of all, he makes you feel good to be around him. Second of all, he does good things for everybody.
He does.
So
he does. So yes, indeed.
There he is, looking like
this time around. He gave me a little food tour of Charlottesville. It was pretty cool.
Oh, that is cool.
We ate at all the best places.
Heck,
Ryan is a whole ass man.
That's right.
He is a whole ass man. He is a hunk of meat, so to speak, and I say that in the nicest way.
There you go.
So we got Sprague on the left, and we got Chico on the right.
That's right.
He's like a cheetah.
Oh man,
that's the longest I've seen him stand still. Actually, just there, he stood still for like 2 Mississippis.
Because Sprague got that reach.
Yeah,
all he has to do is just extend that arm a couple of inches, and that's a boop on your snoot. So Chico is like, I'm fast, but I got to be out of range and then get it within range very quickly.
Yeah, that's true. He's got like 10 feet of reach with that saber.
Yes. Yeah, he's I believe he uses a pommel grip.
You know how people be like, I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. Well, he can.
He can. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. He switches his hands. He's ambidextrous. He's lefty, but he can do his what was that parry by Chico? My God,
What
that was Yoda worthy. Wow,
dude. And he turns his head
he did.
like so much, like just reckless disregard for watching your opponent.
Look at
And it works. I don't get it.
Oh my God, I
Oh
love it.
my
Man.
gosh.
This rule set, by the way, was created to offset the sometimes snail-like pace of the fights that
Yes,
call
to liven
hold.
things up quite a bit.
Yeah, make it more entertaining to watch and more
Yes.
challenging to do. So it's definitely fun with the right. It's fun, period. But when you have certain people, it's magic.
Well, the point fighting can be fast, and we know that based on judging a lot of the time,
Yeah.
right? But I think Alan and I talked about this with the light fencing. That's one of the things about Chad's light fencing rule set. It takes point fighting and ups the tempo a little bit.
Yeah.
But this does that very well also. You guys have nailed your continuous system down pretty well with this. I'm actually pretty, because you and I have talked, and Alan as well, about this very, like, how to make this work in tournaments better than we've seen before. Because I do not want to put anybody on, like, it is a hard thing to accomplish. So even trying it in other events, good on people. But it's tough to do, and it's tough to judge. And that's the biggest thing. It seems like you guys have it nailed down. So, man, whatever you've been doing or putting in the water, keep putting it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Keep putting it.
Yeah, we started cooking this rule set a couple of years back, and it went well last year. But this year it went off even better. So I think it's
match goes to Chico.
Amazing. Yep, match goes to Chico.
Yeah. No, sorry, I didn't mean to, but
yeah.
I remember a couple years ago we were talking about were you going to put it in the summer tournament, and you weren't quite ready to do that yet, but you had like this skeleton idea of how you wanted it to go. And so this seems to be like last year you tried it, and this year you've got it sort of more nailed down. By the time next year rolls around, it's not even going to be like the breaks in between even are going to be shorter, because everybody's just going to be so ready to do it right.
That's right.
Also, I'm a big fan of the circular actual ring for lightsaber fighting.
Yeah. Reason for that was to inspire more dynamic movement.
Yes. Don't stick yourself in a corner and wait.
Exactly. I feel like more lateral movement makes it a bit more unpredictable to watch. I think it works well for the continuous rule set.
Alan, do you have a preference, having been a fighter and a judge in both versions of the ring?
So, first off, this is David versus Vince.
Did we not say that? I'm sorry. I thought we said that.
It's all good. Secondly, it is it's like comparing apples to bowling balls. So if you look at this rule set by itself, it is a different style of fighting.
Sure.
It's kind of like soccer versus American football.
Yes, right? yes, I agree with that.
It's very much like this is a rule set that never stops. So you do have a couple breaks here and there, but that's about it. You're going in knowing that you have to have at least 2 minutes of gas.
Yeah.
Right? Because the time limits is 2 minutes.
But your style can adapt. Maybe you were gonna say that.
Yeah, you have to basically have enough wherewithal and skill to actually show up and fight. For that long, put up a fight, and the fact that it's not apparent who's winning. Completely apparent. Excuse me. Who's winning until the end makes it so that you want to watch the whole thing.
Exactly.
And it's not just like
and as a fighter, you can take it to the end. You're like, I can still win this. I can still, until the very last second.
Right.
Yeah.
And because of the variable scoring, it makes it much easier to do something like that. Because
So
it's like, okay, even though you're behind, you can still parry your post
exactly.
and get forward.
Try a
with it.
new game plan. Sometimes with point fighting, it's so stop start that you don't really have a chance to start the ignition on a different strategy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And also, when something like that happens, you're automatically, or at least in my book, you're automatically set up to go, okay, here we go. I can still do
Vince.
this if I go defensive. And Vince wins this one.
Vince wins this
But
one.
yeah, if you are showing up and you are going in, just swinging away, it's not and your opponent parry or post, they'll score more than you if
Yeah.
you just hit once,
Yeah.
which is really good and really useful for teaching. I think.
I want to say something really quickly before I forget, before we go past a point where it's relevant. That fight was very much, I talked about geometry earlier with Alan. That fight was very much geometry, like the geometry of their stances, the geometry of where their blades were. And their game seemed to become where they were trying to play the angles on each other, like get there first, but not like without any defense sensibilities. They were defensively very responsible, but also not like blocking or parrying per se. It was a lot of like one moment right in the middle, our Vince like ducked under the blade and hit him in the shin, but tell me, David, that's what I was going to say. He did exactly what you should do when somebody goes low and hit Vince in the head or tried to hit Vince in the head, but the opposite of what's supposed to happen happened, where the leg shot, which is usually the more risky shot, the leg shot got there first. It was just one of those things. It's like, oh man, when the two people are engaged and the geometry is like dynamic, to use Alan's word, it really it can change how like what you think shouldn't happen can happen in your favor. So that was one of those moments. We always teach a counter for a leg shot to be the head shot, and it turned out that the counter for the head shot was the freaking leg shot. So now we got Peter and Liz, correct?
That's right.
Okay,
that is right. You got it.
And this is she's more aggressive in this match than she was before.
Because her opponent changed. that madman Chico, love you, brother. It's a bit more measured, but she usually has a very aggressive disposition when she's more comfortable in the fight. Her default switch is aggressive.
Okay.
Not reckless, but aggressive.
I'd like to see her block and parry a little more, but I also sympathize that she's not, because I tend to do that too. I tend to sort of I don't know that this is what she's doing, but I tend to sort of personally forget to like block and parry a little bit, and I do play the game of let me get there first. It's not always a bad thing.
What's going on? Yeah,
not always a bad thing. Oh, that was fun entry. Okay. Peter's cool as a cucumber.
He is. He's very relaxed. He's very measured. His footwork is immaculate.
That was a gentlemanly, gentle lady-ish fight. Very good fight.
Yeah.
That worked
side note, I will have to say, you've noticed, a few times now, there's a little bit of a lag every now and then. Apologies. The Wi-Fi there isn't the best.
Well, it was live streamed. That we're watching the recording now, but if people weren't aware, it was live streamed at the time, so that's why that's that.
And be clear, the building's Wi-Fi isn't the best, so Ryan lended us his, and it works very well. So, but yeah, Peter took that match. So good job, everybody. Liz is mask is fashioned after Moon Knight, if no one caught that.
Oh, cool.
A
Very
big
cool.
Moon Knight fan.
Said nobody ever. However, I did enjoy that series, and he's always one of my favorite characters to play with in Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
Hey, look, I liked it, man.
Yeah, it was good, and I'm a sucker for Egyptian mythology, so
yeah,
that was cool.
Only thing though I didn't like, I do have to say, I don't want to get too much in the weeds, but they had him having all these like supernatural powers, like flight and stuff. Moonlight is a like street level.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Beat the thug up in the alley. I don't want to see him flying across the sky like Superman.
Yeah, he used to hang out with like Daredevil and the Punisher and Ghost Rider once in a while.
Right.
Yeah.
But other than that, I did like the show.
Yeah, it was cool. So we have Ryan again and Chico, which
Master.
I was gonna say
former apprentice.
Okay, yeah. So this is now we've got the end of Revenge of the Sith going on here.
A rule of two is now being executed.
There you go. That's more like it.
I don't know if the attempt will be successful.
Well, if I know Ryan, he's going to do everything. It's sort of like a dad never ever letting his son win. His son might win once in a while, but it's never on purpose.
Oh yeah. Thinking it beat your dad, but he got like that old man strength.
Yeah, man.
Still,
you know. You're like, Dad, you just turned 70. How did you get stronger? You go through a second win, son. Yeah, when you're 30.
I know.
Yeah, man. I don't know what it is. It is a thing. And Ryan about to flex the dad on him, I think. That's my prediction. I didn't actually watch this video, so that's my prediction.
Notice how wary of each other they are. They are both being extremely cautious.
Yeah.
If this is the fight I'm thinking about. They both scored single digits only, if I remember. Because they were just being so careful.
Yeah, every time they fight, it's just that familiarity of how often they fight. They know, okay, this is a feint. This is a feint. Okay, what are you actually going to do? Okay, I have to respond to that, but that's not going to be a thing.
Ryan is a 9-man master, and I mean that wholeheartedly.
Yeah,
that man is a chameleon.
Yeah,
he goes in between everything. His signature technique is the orbiting shiem. That's from our version of Form 2. When the false edge comes up and hits on the wrist or the saber, he's mastered that one. That is his move.
Oh, look at that dive!
Very nice.
Well, he's definitely got like a base of gem, but his a bit what we were talking about earlier, where he'll figure out what you're gonna do. That's all 9-man right there. It's and you know, the fact that he's got Chico not behaving like the Roadrunner.
Oh no.
Like that says something, you know.
Yeah.
There
it is, round over.
Yeah, I can see how that would have been single digits, because I was trying to count and I was like, I don't really know.
Being very cautious
Tough
of
to
each
score.
other.
Tough to score.
Don't want to give anything away.
Now Vince makes his own armor as well, correct? See it right there.
What was that?
Does Vince not make his own armor as well?
Oh, yes, he does. He does, yeah. Yeah, he I think he has like one piece maybe that he didn't make or alter in some way. But like that kind of like samurai scale armor, he like individually sewed those pieces together.
Yeah.
He also dyed his Hakama, and he dyed his Tabi.
That is right.
We're in sudden death again?
I believe so, yes.
That's the way it should be between a master and apprentice, if it's not a total house cleaning by the master.
That's right.
It should either be a house cleaning or neck and neck.
There it was.
That's it.
Did Chico take that?
Yeah, Chico got a viper flick to the wrist.
That was another one of those moments where I was like, subconsciously I knew it was Chico, but I saw Ryan move too. Man, very tough to judge this.
It can be,
but not in a muddled way. Because sometimes some like hard to judge sounds like it's a knock on the rule set. It's not in a difficult way. It's just like I said earlier, you really got to be on it. And I'm finding myself getting distracted by the quality of fighting, which as a judge, though it's good that the fighting is quality, as a judge, you can't get distracted by the dope stuff going on in front of you.
It happens to me all the time.
Yep.
I hate it. As I have to stay locked in, but
you got to quickly snap yourself out of it. And if you can do that, it will work. But yeah, man, I'm like being an MMA judge. It's one of those things where if you get too lost in the cool stuff happening, you could very well end up with a very injured person.
That's right.
But like being a commentator, man, you could. It's a whole different game. You can just enjoy. I get stressed out by fighting, man, by being an actual combatant. But I just don't like hurting people.
Fight, I agree with that. That's part of my problem. But fighting is just inherently anxiety producing. I don't think a lot of people understand.
Yeah.
Know that feeling, an actual fight, how stressful it really is.
Sparring is different. Sparring is fun. That's why, I do this stuff. I like it. But as a actual competitor, I just don't have that bug the same way. I'm kind of like Alan in pools, but I do that the whole time, like where I'm just trying to have as much absolute fun as possible. But sometimes
that's me the whole time too. I just sometimes it works out in my favor.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But and for Alan, I think there is zero, like you could care less what the outcome is, no matter what. I do have this like subliminal ego that like I try not to acknowledge, where I'm like, well, I do still kind of want to win, or at least not lose. And that's the part that stresses me out. And I'm like, why do I care? I just like to saber fight. But,
Of course.
I just want to have an entertaining fight. That's my only thing.
Yeah.
I just don't want to have a boring fight. And that's
exactly it.
That's really why. And Courtney also knew that I was, when I was fighting in this tournament, I was like, so I just went through my first day of 7th degree black belt test. So I'm here. I love you. I'm not 100%. So
you are a madman in the best way.
So
it was a lot of willpower to go and do stuff.
So we got Sprague versus Vince now, and this is the literal tallest or second tallest, one of the two tallest, versus the literal shortest.
Yeah.
And God, Vince, it sounds like I'm coming down on you. We're within an inch of each other, buddy. It's not a big deal. But this. Vince. For me, this is me studying how another guy my size deals with a guy Mike's size, because.
Yeah. So Vince here in this fight is what I would call fishing. He's letting Sprague get in, and he's coming in with a quick counterattack.
Yes.
Every time. So it's very much I'm going to stay completely out of your range, and as soon as you extend, I'm going to come back.
Almost Chien in nature. Not quite aggressively like counter-attacking and stuff, but using Mike's Mike-ness against him.
Right. And that's the thing too. The difference between this and some of the other rule sets too is because you are incentivized to parry and riposte.
Yes,
it works out really well in the long run for points.
Absolutely.
Oh man, that was seam to seam combat.
Yeah, that's a
You know what I mean?
good way to put it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, man.
That was bursting with combat. Man, I'd be hacking up a lung after that.
These guys have
Both of these guys
have significant wind.
I'm telling you.
That's what happens when you train all the time, literally all the time.
Right.
What these
They
guys do.
also, these guys are also like
Vince
fighting.
won. Mm-hmm.
Yep, that was Vince's game. But yeah, these guys also fight pretty often, right?
Probably not as much now, but over the years, yeah, they fought dozens and dozens of times. Yes, definitely.
That's we always talk about the lightsaber as the great equalizer, or the weapon itself, the range, the fact that, you know, you might not be using exactly the same length or style of saber, but it's basically the same weapon no matter who it is. That was Vince using that equalizer to equalize the height disadvantage. Because his saber looked to be about the same size as Sprague's, and he had a very good handle on how rangy he could let himself be. And I say it that way because you can be rangier but get a lot riskier, or you could be not so rangy but not score because you're not taking any risks, right?
Yeah.
So he had a real good temperature on how he could range himself out, and he ended up beating a guy that's, as we see them standing next to each other, at least a literal full head taller than him.
Yeah.
So
not at all wrong. That is astute, I'd say.
Oh, well, thank you. You should tell my wife I said something astute. She'd never believe you.
Yeah.
Is this Trip again?
Just this Trip with the blue on the
blue
right.
On the right, okay.
Peter is on the left side there.
You know what, Courtney? This double elimination, man, I'm loving that people are getting multiple chances. Not just 2 chances to fight, but multiple chances to fight.
Yes.
You should always get at least 2, but these people are getting 3, 4, 6 chances to fight.
And then, you know, there were also the pools before, you know, so you bang for your buck, definitely.
Yes. Yes.
And there's always a chance, you know. And the brackets were balanced out very well here. And then also when we did Aiken's foam tournament, which was a blast.
Yes.
We balanced those brackets out very well also.
And Courtney, this is one of the things that we've always kind of gelled on, is that you've been using the foam weapons since the beginning as well. And
yes.
Alan and I in our programs have always used those as well. They're just such incredible training tools.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
So
like that should be standard operating procedure in my opinion.
And actually,
they're very useful.
We don't have it on the website yet, but if you are listening and you need to know, like, oh, what the hell are they keep talking about these foam sabers? If you need to get some of these Action Flex foam sabers, send an email to either sabermaoutreach@gmail.com or mastervenable@phoenixsaber.com, and, you know, in the title put would like Action Flex sabers. Now, if you are an affiliate, you will get a little discount on those. If you are not an affiliate, you will not pay more than retail for them, but you can get them through us. So they're just incredible training tools, and you guys did a whole tournament bracket with them. Now Tony uses a little different side, but we'll talk about that another night. This fight, we should say it was very much Trip sort of pressing the action.
Is a master of measure. I mean, that boy, if you step within a millimeter of his area, that's the end of you.
He didn't really seem like he was giving Peter much room to breathe. Not that Peter wasn't trying, but it seemed like he was kind of keeping him in place, kind of pinning him to the spot.
He knows his range. It's like that scene from Blade, the first one, when he gets to the blood rave and then he shows up and then he takes his sword and he like draws like a line like across, like that's like Trip. Like if you come across his line, like you're getting tore up, and it happens every time.
I talk about that concept a lot in self-defense, like how close is too close, and somebody be like close enough to punch, and like no, that's way too close.
Yeah.
Close enough to kick, still too close, like just beyond where like you can reach them with your feet, right? Like that's when you're gonna throw that kick, right, or throw that strike or whatever the case is. Like, but if just it's funny that you talk about that Blade scene. That's great, man. You just
now everybody goes back to random stuff like
y'all should go watch that scene. Exactly what we're talking about, because that is how you control range in not just self-defense but a fight as well. Like you just train your body and your brain that automatically somebody gets within that imaginary line that you just cut on the ground with your sword, right? Yeah. Like they are in trouble. They are in big trouble instantly.
That's right.
That's a tough concept. You can't really teach it. You could talk about it, right? And you can help people develop it. But I feel like it's kind of like this switch in your brain that you have to be able to hit, that not everybody has like that like aggressive sort of, I don't know if that's the right word, but like it does take a bit of an aggression, a fast twitch aggression.
I like that, fast twitch aggression. That is added to the vocabulary.
Yeah, man. Like a light switch. Be able to turn it on and off like a light switch.
Yeah. You should name one of the future episodes that, fast twitch aggression.
Maybe that's what we'll name this one.
Hey, let's go, baby.
Because that's a lot of what we've seen too. I mean, especially like here, we got Trip and Vince now. This is going to be nothing but exactly what we talked about. I'm predicting.
Yeah.
And they meet in the middle. Look at that. Vince, you gutsy bastard.
Yes, he is. But also, Vince, being on the slightly shorter end of it, he also has to understand range perfectly.
Yes.
So it's kind of that thing in the middle where they're both kind of like range dudes.
Yeah. You draw on that line, you come past it, and that kick's gonna be there before you know it. They keep like disengaging as they engage too, because I think they both know that that's what they're doing.
It's hilarious. Like I can see the line between them moving every time they move. Like I wish I could draw like how they do it in the NFL. I wish I could draw on the screen so you guys could see.
Oh, see, I thought Vince was going to be the first one to really penetrate past. No, but Trip was with that lunge. Man, his lunges. Like I don't know how he recovers so easily.
Look at that. Yeah.
That's a big ass lunge.
I mean, that was a clean headshot.
Vince, good on you for keeping that sword moving dangerously. Not just moving about, moving dangerously.
And he's composed too.
Yes.
He's not freaking out, man, which I love. I love Vince fights so relaxed. And I wish he could just teach that. He's so relaxed. He's just calm every time.
If he is as much like me as I think he is, he's probably way more high strung internally than his external vibes would. Like when I tap gloves to spar with somebody, I'm freaking out inside. Exterior though, I'm total Ice Cube. And I feel like maybe Vince and I are a little bit alike in that regard. He channels his inner freak out to become this Iceman. And I like it. I like it a lot. And maybe I'm totally wrong about that. Maybe his wife would be would agree with me though.
You'd be more correct than you realize.
I feel like his personality is probably a lot like mine, very high energy personality, but in
Vince
the ring,
is one of those dudes. You just happy to see him.
Yeah,
he's one of those guys. So
he's happy to be there. You know what I mean?
You.
Yep.
And also talking to these guys in between rounds and stuff. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Trip is pushing himself so hard that he has a shirt underneath his armor that says "Everything Hurts."
My God, how accurate that was.
Yeah.
He
And
had
here we are again with uh, a another sudden death.
yes, which was the trend for Poor Trip. That man
Yeah.
fought so many fights that day. I don't envy him. I know he was tore up the next day.
Yeah, but he probably looks good in a bikini afterwards. Oh man.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And Vince is pretty much like the day was
Oh. You see that? How he did the blade touch and he lunged at him?
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
That's the
So
power of the dark side.
Yeah, Vince is like
A little Toots
having
and
fun
Menace
because
there.
he didn't see himself getting this far.
Yeah. I do love that Sith-like maneuver where he faked him out in the beginning. No Jedi would do that. That was hilarious.
See, he's playing his back foot. Vince is playing his back. That was Scorpion. Like, he's playing his back foot so close to that edge. And I know you have a ring out rule. He's playing with fire if he steps out of that ring, right? So that's like a risky maneuver to keep your foot against the fence like that, and it worked in his favor.
Vince, big Vince. That's what
I'm saying, man. He exploded off that fence.
That's one of his. That's a big dub.
Okay, Vince and I'm now going to be studying Vince like an anthropology experiment.
Yeah.
Because his fighting style is not identical to mine, but I see a lot of the same sensibilities in how he operates. And so now I'm going to be watching him with great interest. But Vince also that last technique, springing off the wall like that, I do something similar when I'm being pushed around. And I'm always telling the kids in my class, like, the fence is not your friend. But sometimes I'm full of shit because sometimes the fence is your friend. And the way that he just exploded off of that, like, I do this one thing sometimes when I'm really, really in trouble where I'll put my back foot on the actual wall or fence and actually just push right in. Maybe I throw a punch. Maybe I just like put my arms up and kind of tackle into him. Maybe I do none of the, I don't know, maybe I just freaking fly at him like Super Grover. But I'll put my foot on that fence and just launch myself off it. And a lot of times, if I don't hit the person, I'm like now on the other side of them. I've created so much space that I've gone past them. And now they're against the fence, which is great. And that's almost what he just did. He just popped right off that blue zone and with his little scorpion tail. And there he goes. He freaking wins the match.
That is it.
So anyway, there's my anthropology summary of the Del Vecchio Scorpion.
He did very well. I think to put it in context, I think within Charlottesville, Hampton Roads, our local Saber area, I think only 3 people have ever beaten Tripp, and Vince is one of them.
Interesting.
So there you go. That was a big thing there.
That was a mustache.
Big validation. Statement. Yeah.
So we have Ryan fighting again here.
We do. I can't remember who he fights. It might be Vince, I think it was. Because we've been going in between the elimination bracket and the standard bracket. So the people that have been eliminated, we've been like going back and forth between that.
Okay.
So, Vince fighting his way back in, fighting his way back up, that sort of thing. And and then Ryan got knocked off by Chico, so he's going to be going up against Vince. Here we are.
There he is.
Making his way back in. Shout out to Vince,
his
actually.
Way back in.
Think he's currently in Japan enjoying himself.
With all that victory money from the tournament.
There you go. A big prize cup.
I'm sure he gave out a real gold belt. He just melted it down. Bought himself a trip too.
Because these are the last two, I think. The last fight is whoever wins has to win twice, because
that's right.
It's a double elimination tournament.
I hate brackets sometimes,
and the plot thickens.
I have to have them in front of me. I can't ever remember if I'm not looking right at them.
Well, y'all might remember like 3 years ago, you couldn't even say the word pool around me without like.
Oh, I know.
Without me vomiting at you.
Pool.
Pools, man.
I do remember that, yeah.
Pools are for swimming.
That's hilarious.
I still don't like them. I just wish it was just a long ass tournament, just do more divisions. But it is. I understand why I understand the need. I understand the usage.
Well, there is a argument for placing yourself in the bracket, and there's an argument for doing random stuff and just going into its list,
exactly,
which is totally fine too. But a lot of times with pools, you can kind of gauge where people are going to be, and make it a little bit easier.
You can tell Vince Ryan's a little more fresh right now.
Yeah. Vince just finished his fight.
He's still fighting smart, but you can tell he's kind of like, just give me like 2 feet of space. Just give me 2 feet to breathe.
And Ryan, man, he's just backing him into the corner. Just backing.
Mm-hmm. Vince is again fishing. He's waiting for the bite. It's very good, especially if your reach is not as long as the other fighters. And again, this is years now that these guys have fought.
Yes,
right.
So,
and I'm not used to seeing Ryan this aggressive either.
Yeah.
Usually Ryan is doing what Vince has been doing, like Alan said, kind of fishing or playing the counter game more. Playing the crying wolf a little bit in the corner.
Yeah. Well, Ryan told me that he is in the patience game. He will break first constantly because he wants to get in there. He wants to play. So the fact that Vince is just waiting and
it's probably driving Ryan a little nuts.
So it's part of that. Part of that thing. But it's also like this is also the big one, right? This is the one that closes out the tournament.
Yeah, and so, I think Ryan had a smarter strategy in that regard. Vince is probably trying largely to just recover from the last couple bouts.
Right.
Like I think he's pretty gassed, and he's got a good gas tank, so that's no knock on him. I'd be on the floor already, just dead. So
truly,
the fact that he's even fighting that smart, able to counter, able to sit in the corner while Ryan just hacks away at him.
So that was me smiling at Ryan. You know what time it is. Let's go. Your sudden death.
Sudden death again. Oh,
yeah.
Poor Vince, man. Like I wish I could just give him an oxygen mask.
Yeah.
But in Ryan's playing a smart game right now. Like especially if I knew that the other guy was tired, that's exactly what I'd do. You put him against the fence and you keep peppering him with shots.
Yeah.
Vince has got a good defense though. I can't wait. Let's see.
The fact that he's able to tie it, coming off that last fight is
just look at his body language.
Excellent.
Again, if you were to rewind to a few bouts ago with him, the body language is just slower, and he's not slow still, but the body language is just more sluggish. You can tell he's sucking a little more air.
Yeah.
And sometimes with sparring, especially with gear on, it's not so much a matter of actually being like physically exhausted so much as it is like this guy is spinning a little bit, or like the room's spinning a little bit, like I'm a little sweaty in the head, like it's a little swimmy up here, or like I'm just, my gut's a little bit like I should have ate something more, should have ate something less. You have these little thoughts and things, and that's what throws you off more than like actually being exhausted.
That's right.
I feel like I could get through exhaustion, but I can't get through mental exhaustion. Look at Ryan. He doesn't even believe he got it. He was working that hard. Both boys fought very well. Ryan, I kind of think it was pretty clearly for you in most of the fight, but Vince, to again, like Courtney said, take it to sudden death.
Yeah. Vince, he showed off. I'm telling you, him.
It could have gone either way, absolutely.
It could have.
I think that Ryan just had a little momentum.
Yeah. Again, if Vince, played his patience game a little more.
That when he won against Trip with that springboard that I went off on my tangent for.
Springboard.
Like he could have done something like that and maybe had the same result against Ryan just then. And I think that's kind of what Ryan was maybe even waiting for. Like, oh, crap, when's he going to try something tricky? And it just didn't happen. He just played the patience game. But, man, it worked. Like, I don't know. That was... God, all these sudden death rounds. You love to see the sudden death rounds. You know that was a good fight.
Yeah, and again, a fact that they tied the exact same amount of points between the judges, I mean, that says a lot.
So is this Chico Ryan again?
Just for...
I believe so, yes.
Wow.
So I think in this particular case, they're I know that Chico has not been defeated yet, right?
That's right. I believe Ryan has fought his way out of elimination.
Okay.
So he's back in fighting for second place. Yeah.
Right.
The comeback of the century.
That's right. He
no, that is a comeback though, because especially when like when you're Chico, you're like, damn it, I thought I just got rid of this guy.
Don't call the comeback.
Here's a problem that I thought I solved already.
What happened when Sidious killed Plagueis? What didn't he like he hit him with lightning, but then he was still in the room after he killed him or something like that? It just reminded me of that. I don't fully remember.
I haven't read the novel in a while. I need to go back and read that one.
Yeah, I believe that's what it was.
I read it when it first came out, but God, that's a good one. Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. I mean, he poisoned him first, but yes.
All right, come on, Chico. Get in there, dog. Come on.
So once again, they're reading each other's games. They have the exact same stance.
Yep.
They're waiting for the first person to move.
Yeah. That's so true.
And, again, they've fought a lot and they've trained a lot together. So you're looking at, I know exactly your distance. I know exactly your measure. So this is going to be a game of who's faster and who makes a mistake first.
That's sound. Right on. Man, Chico's thrust is the most accurate thing I've ever experienced. I mean, that man can hit a mosquito from off the wall and pin it to the wall with his say. I mean, he is so precise with that damn thing. He hits you in the head every time, and it's rare that he has misfires and hits like your neck or something. He's perfect, right between the eyes.
I know he's trained that particular technique a lot.
It is his.
in his first year, I think, with SLK, he practiced only by himself for a while.
Yep.
And so he only had a certain amount of movements. But again, we go back to let's get out of that whole thing where more moves equals more better. If you just get one move real good, and then another move real good, you then have a bunch of really good tools.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and there's the match. There's the match. So I don't know if I had to just off instinct, I'd probably give it to Chico, but we'll see.
He was relentless that whole time. He started off slow.
Yeah, that might be tainting my judgment.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, just because of that reason, I'm kind of leaning towards Chico.
Yeah. When he got comfortable, he turned it up. Like he just would not stop hitting Ryan when he got comfortable. Just kept doing it. We're trying to.
See how it goes. And the winner by knockout, Chico. The Chico.
The Cheekster. The Cheekster.
Oh, man.
Prince of all Saiyans.
That's right. And I think that's how you announced it, too.
That is exactly how I did it.
Yeah.
Well, that was quite the event, Courtney.
Yeah.
Give me. Yeah. Oh, there's Sifu.
There he is.
Hello.
Courtney, give me some thoughts on how that went.
So thoughts on how the standard tournament went. Well, if I could be honest with you, I could not have prayed for it to go better. Right. People came in with honor and excitement and respect, and everyone was locked in the whole day. It was just locked in, focused, because I think people wanted to represent, and it came across well. There were no knuckleheads. I did have one small incident, but in the end, even that got resolved, and all parties saw things the proper way. And that tournament went great. Exotics was awesome. I got to see two of my favorite Jarkai fighters, that being Sifu and also M Watson. She's actually from Lightspeed, but she's kind of been working with us a lot lately. Her and Alan and then one other guy are the top three Jarkai I've seen ever. So I got to see them in the exotics. That was great. And then Commander ran a foam tournament for the gods. That was the most fun I've ever. That was insanely. That was amazing. I think what we'll do next year for Praxeum War 2025, we're probably going to give him his own day to run that thing.
Yeah,
because it was just
that was a lot of fun.
That was, it was great. It's great.
So we got the podium here.
That's right. So first place from left to right. Starting first place left, going all the way to the right side.
Chico got. So what do we got? Fourth place? We got a fourth place?
That's right. So that would be Trip. That is it.
Yeah, he got through the semifinal, right? So.
That's right.
He deserves it.
He definitely did. Vince in third place.
We got Ryan with the silver.
Vince trying to take it from him.
That's right.
But that's the vibe, though. These guys love each other so much. They fight each other so much that they just showed up with a really good set of movement and set of fights, and again, well earned, well fought. All these guys,
and then of course Chico with the platinum attire.
Yeah. So yeah, this was the results of the standard tournament. The tournament overall, I believe the group placement was Saberlight Knights Charlottesville took first. Saberlight Knights Hampton Roads took second, and Kyber Kai Academy took third.
Very cool.
Yeah. Which I think. Oh, okay. I guess they didn't. I guess you didn't put that on there.
Well, that was.
I believe that was in day one, part 3. I believe. I think I broke it into 3 parts.
That was incredibly entertaining. I recommend anybody who is listening only. First of all, I personally think it's kind of cool sometimes to listen to these fight commentaries without actually watching the fights, because sometimes we're not actually talking about the fighting, but sometimes it's kind of cool to, like, when we talk about techniques or styles and things, to kind of like use your own imagination on how it might be, and then go back later, watch the video, kind of like see how it matches up to what you expected. That's kind of a good way to just like practice your eye for martial arts, practice your own instincts for developing it. Yes, I said practice your instincts. That's a thing you can do. But anyway, Alan, having been there in person, what were some things that you kind of took away from this particular event? Because, like I said, I was just like wildly entertained by that fighting.
A couple of observations was that everybody wanted to be there. Nobody was there, just to be there, just to, everybody wanted to show up, and everybody wanted to have fun and extend their hand in friendship and camaraderie. There was no one there that was just like, I'm going to come in there and destroy everybody. I don't care what they say. Yeah. There was none of that energy at all, which is really good. The competition was there, but it wasn't what it was about. It was more of what Saber martial arts is about. It's more of a celebration,
right,
of a bunch of hard work throughout the year, than it is a competition of like, oh my gosh, I'm better than he is, or whatever. It was very much for me, I go around to a bunch of places, and I do, my best to show up, at a bunch of other people's schools to do it. This is one of the ones that I make sure I get to. And if you're listening to this and you're not going to Praxeum War 2025, I would say you should probably think about it. Or get on whatever device that you have, and talk to our friend Darth Chocolate here. Talk to Mr. McKenna. Talk to Mark. Talk to myself. Send a smoke signal. Make it there. It's a lot of fun. There are seminars before the tournament, and this is blatantly what we're trying to do. Also, in May, at Sabermania in Los Angeles. So
honestly, sorry, not to like interject too much, but this is honestly like blatantly what we've been trying to do since day one. So it's exactly what we've been wanting to do more and more and more and more of. So now, Courtney, I really have to get with you and figure out how the hell I'm gonna make these dates work next year, because I have to be a part of this next year in actual person.
Yeah.
It's October 11th next year.
That's right. You got it. I was just going to confirm it. I was about to look back and see.
Oh, that's an excellent date. That's a freaking excellent date. Okay, so I'm putting it out there in the world right now. If you come to Praxeum War next year, Courtney, if you'd permit me, there will be tomahawks.
Hey, I love it. Let's do it.
And there may be some terraskazi as well.
Oh,
so this is something that Alan and I have been trying to. I know Alan's really interested in getting some real development going in that direction. So that I'm putting it out there in the world right now. By Praxeum War 25, we will have some of those two elements present in the seminars. So Courtney, I'll definitely get with you on that, and we'll make sure it's all on the level as far as your ethos for your school. But yeah, I'm so excited to hear that. October 11th. There we go. Ah, sweet. If we can stay away from the number 17, man, I'll usually be able to work it. So
there we go.
I got 2 kids with birthdays on the 17th, so that's why I say that. It's so funny. I think 3 times now, my kids' birthdays have interfered with all or part of the event.
Right. Yeah.
And it's funny because Alan, when I went to see, or I didn't specifically go to see you, but that was a product of going out there in San Diego. At least twice was right around my daughter's birthday, and I remember having to cut a trip or 2 short there because of that. So it's hilarious. Flown home on Father's Day more than once for these events. So anyway, saberlightnights.com, or you could go to sabermartialarts.life and click on the Saber Light Knights school profile section, and you can get in contact with Courtney and or Ryan that way. Or you could send me or Alan an email if you want it forwarded to them. We can do that, or we can talk to you as well. sabermaoutreach@gmail.com, mastervenable@phoenixsaber.com. I really encourage you to go check out the Saberlight YouTube channel as well, because Ryan and Roland and everybody just put in a lot of work towards the martial arts as well as the production. So go ahead and patronize their free stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't cost you anything to hit subscribe on their channel. It doesn't cost you anything to hit subscribe on our channel. If you want to pay a little something, visit our Patreon, patreon.com/sabermartialarts. It's not real expensive to get your toes wet. If you got a little extra cash and you want a little extra back in return, Alan and I have set it up to be pretty generous with our martial arts time. So, I encourage you to become a patron. And look, if none of that is for you, at least go to the website, sabermartialarts.life, and see what might be for you, because I promise we can help you out. This has been fun. Watching saber fighting is always kind of like the candy in the meal plan.
Of course.
You got to have your meat and potatoes conversations, but it's always fun to have candy, and this was some candy tonight. So thank you for that. Thank you to all the fighters for fighting your butts off and really representing yourselves well. Thank you to Courtney for running such a kick-ass school, kick-ass program. All your events always running smoothly, exemplary of how people should be doing this thing, in my opinion. Nobody paid for that opinion, so there you go.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
It's been a fun ride so far, man. It's
what we
great.
do around here. When you do good things for the
Absolutely.
community, we try to at least put you on the show and talk nice about you, right? So there you go. Something we will always do for anybody who wants to be involved with us. And if you think we're full of it, reach out to Courtney independently. He will tell you his honest opinion of us. It will be untainted by my words. And if he hates us, he'll tell you the truth, right?
Of course.
But go ahead and if you really need to know if this is something that you would like to do, then the 3 of us and many others are great resources for you to find that out. All available on sabermartialarts.life and saberlightnights.com. PhoenixSaber.com if you want to check out stuff going on in the Arizona area, which I know is a big ass area, but more specifically the Phoenix area, which again I know is a big ass area. But if you want to get involved with Master Venable in a actual in-person fashion, go to PhoenixSaber.com or email them at all the things I've already said 100 times. And if you'd like to get involved with me in person, reach out to me at the email address, and I will let you know where you can come to train for some mixed martial arts, and soon to be in the very near future here, self-defense as well as saber fighting again. I'll be doing a saber fighting program again, and I'm hoping that I at least have at least 5 people who have said they would like to do it. You know what I'm saying? So good to be alive again.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for checking out Saber Late Nights again and again. And as always, bring your own saber.
This party's over until Sabermania.